All right, we are back on the Fully Loaded Podcast. Today in the studio, we have some heavy hitters, some people I've known almost all my life. Any one of these guys could actually host this show. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting all the way on my far right here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I go back Kipp.
What's going on, David?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Bruce.
Okay, we are going to get into a few topics. All three of these brothers are experts in their own rights. We're all from the Harvey area.
H-Town.
You know, Harvey, Illinois. Born and raised. We've all gone our different directions and, become professionals. And we'll probably hit on that a little bit later in the show. So we're going to cover a couple of topics, and quite a few actually, including longevity, COVID-19, reparations, business ownership, credit, taxes, the cartoon Big Mouth. We're going to talk about Juneteenth, George Floyd, your boy R. Kelly, and student teacher Misrelationships. So anybody, I mean, let's just do it, man. Anybody want to get started with anything? Any preferred topic? I know David probably want to talk about R. Kelly first.
So y'all gonna put me on the spot.
Just to disavow.
Look, that's all I gotta say. Okay. I am both now, I gotta say, I'm both publicly and privately no longer listen to R. Kelly's music. Okay.
Whoa.
Both publicly and privately, I have turned myself. Now, this did cause me some problems. Because my wife kind of brought up nicely, what about all the white people doing this, blah, blah, blah. So I did also have to, and this is the first time I'm announcing this, both publicly and privately give up Woody Allen. I'm sorry. I wish I had.
Wow.
I got you, bro.
But,
okay.
Anywho, yeah, so, but on the front of Kales, it's just, I guess, in reality, there was always some pretty heavy evidence.
You mean the names of his songs?
No.
Every single song?
No.
Seems like you ready.
The song
Ain't nothing but a number.
The song that I don't like of his the least is the one that's called I Like Kids. That's the song I think tells the entire story.
Wait, unreleased?
It dropped on YouTube.
He made that song, I Apologize, and he was narcissistic from the beginning to the end. He didn't apologize for anything. And the song was like 19 minutes long. With not one single genuine apology.
No, man. Here's the thing. This is what I've always said about Kills. This is what I continue to say about Kills. You know, talent-wise, he has a boatload of that shit, man. And those tend to be, they're by definition weird people. And so they do shit that's kind of out of the norm, man.
Greater than morals.
By they, you mean?
Talented people.
Exceptional people. In general. And I don't mean just like artists or athletes. We're talking, dignitaries, politicians, business owners.
People with power.
People with power.
People in general.
I mean, this shit is happening right now.
Right.
Yep. West Virginia home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's happening right now.
And just people are looked at with less scrutiny.
Yes. They don't know what's going on.
Right.
Oh, it's not, yeah. But we all know
that Uncle Johnny is weird.
It's a thing, right.
Right.
Uncle Johnny is Uncle Johnny.
Right.
And with R. Kelly, or with any man with power, or woman, but we're talking about men right now.
Yes, we are.
They have access that a regular person wouldn't necessarily have, but
Access.
I don't know.
Availability.
The thing about Kales is he was doing what every other, I guess we're calling them weird now, 17, 18, 19-year-old was doing.
Well, no, wait.
Not all of them, but the ones who were able to use whatever privileges came along with being a young adult to, in terms of
access to vehicles, privacy,
cars. That's right. Let's just think about it.
Cars.
When cats have cars, when cats get cars, man, they come and swoop up all the chicks that we was walking home from school with, right from under us.
Yeah. I mean that actually relates to the show Big Mouth that we were kind of that we were going to talk about. But.
Right. About all the stuff that they put in that show. I still haven't finished it yet. I haven't been watching TV in a while because I had trouble. I had trouble watching it because the TV was in the living room, and I had kids running around. I could not find enough time to watch the show. Every time they come around, I had to turn it off. Like my teenagers, I don't care, right? They can watch whatever and see whatever. But I got to protect the little ones from that kind of madness. So I got to finish the show. But it talks about, if you haven't seen the show Big Mouth, it talks about and shows the emotions of a young adolescent boy
and girl.
That's
which is the crux of my problem. I got youngish kids, teenage girls, right? And hearing the female hormone monster's point of view of what she thought of these boys running around was not only disturbing, but rang true. Right?
That's what made it even more disturbing.
That's what made it even more disturbing. I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely true.
Yep.
Because they had the male, like, okay, I remember freshman year, and I just it was speech class. I had a boner for no reason. It was no reason, and it wasn't going nowhere, right? Just like, bah! I remember a girl dropped her notebook or pen or something, and she got up and she looked under my desk, and there was no place for it to hide. And she looked me dead in my eyes like I did something wrong.
The shame.
I definitely had a boner in school.
Wait.
I remember her name.
When she looked at you in your eyes, you want to put her name on?
Yeah, her name was Corsica.
Okay. When she looked you in your eyes, how did you feel about that?
I was horrified.
You were more years.
I was horrified.
Wait. So
the shame monster showed up.
The shame
monster. This shit
Another character
This
from
shit
the
almost
show.
exactly happened to me. Did you like this girl?
Yes.
Okay, that's the same thing happened to me there.
Why did she happen to get up, and then look underneath my desk?
She was looking for it. But
This
anyway,
was God's punishment.
It was God's punishment.
For something I did. I don't know.
So I'm in this program called Upward Bound. It's an after-school program. They also do shit in the summer.
I know
One
the
time
story.
We went to the beach. This is the summer after 8th grade year. So the summer 8th grade year, the 8th grade year, we all went on our 8th grade trip. And
So we talking 92.
My mom bought me some gear. So I had this San Jose Sharks outfit. It was like short shirt
clean.
and a short little shirt, right? But it left everything. So we at the beach, and I swear to God, I'm sitting there talking to the girl. It's me, her, and this older dude, right? Who she's clearly enamored with, and I'm just head over heels for her and shit. And I'm talking to her, and out of nowhere, I'm just like standing up. I didn't even notice. I swear to God, it was just like, bing! The bitch was bad. I was just standing. Sup? She's like, oh, what's that? Right?
That's fucked up.
Bro, and my coolest ever. I looked down, looked up. That's my penis. That was my response. On the outside, I swear to God, I thought that shit was cool as fuck. On the inside, I was mortified. I was like, oh my God. She's never going to fuck me now. But I also didn't have any idea what that meant. Well, no, I had some idea. I had seen nasty, sticky Playboys and shit before.
Yeah, man. Found a couple VHS tapes around that year.
Around that year.
But
wait, that's a good year. That's a good fucking year.
I wish I knew the ramification
it's
of
hard
that
to
sticky
say.
magazine.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
I don't. No,
Before I had
I'm
seen
glad I
that
don't.
sticky magazine.
I'm glad I don't, because I would have never done it, and I would have missed it. You know what I'm saying? I survived the cum stained mags. That's what we talk. Let's just be clear. Every page wasn't sticky.
Just a good
back,
page.
you looking back, you like, wait a minute. But going through, you just trying to get that page over. Ooh, that's a good page.
Why the pages smudged?
But you know what?
And I like to think that
kids right now have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Porn is just so readily available.
I like to think that most of the
and there's no paper trail.
the stickiness on the magazine was lotion, okay, or whatever. Okay.
Oh wait, it could have also been water. These were
water.
Were usually in abandoned buildings, but it don't matter how much nut is good for you. That's so clear. How much is good? Is a good ratio.
Yeah, man. So that youth, that young angst, man, it can get you in a lot of trouble, man. I think you know, not getting as much pussy as I would have wanted in my early teens really developed me as a man. You know, it kind of balanced me out. and then when I started getting a lot of ass, it was like, you know, it was like I was really able to appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
And you had other shit going on.
Right.
You know what? It ain't just all about fucking.
Right. And now I could care less, right? If I go to a bar or club with you guys, I'm there to enjoy our camaraderie, enjoy the sights.
I don't even really go to bars and clubs no more though. But you know, when we hanging out and shit.
That's because of COVID though.
No, I mean like before COVID. Like it's been years since I've really gone to bars and clubs and shit. I mean occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally.
Right.
But like for special events or with your guys, or just kicking the shit, have a couple beers and get to move.
Point is to hang out.
But yeah, with the fucking COVID-19, that kind of just changed everything, right?
Changed the game.
You know, I was driving through New York right when the shutdown happened. Everybody who heard I was in New York didn't want to see me. They like, where you coming from? I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Like 14 days minimum.
I had a cousin who had just came from Washington State.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually came out here, stopped by, came through to shine. This was like right before it broke. Yep.
Wow.
But it had already been a thing on the West Coast. He came into town and smartly, he didn't go see our grandmother. And sadly, at the same time, right?
Very smart.
He just came. He hadn't seen her.
Get in the sweet spot, Kipp.
He hadn't seen her in a few years.
Yeah, there we go.
And he was here, but he had just got back from Washington State. So instead of going to see her and hang out, he came and hang out with us. Probably passed that shit around, but
I don't know about that. But that was actually, that day was the last day I was in a bar in 2020. That was the last bar I've been in.
What day was that?
It was some random ass fucking day.
Like what month?
March.
Yep.
Early March.
March is late.
Oh no, that they had already announced the shutdown. It was going to take effect Friday or something.
Yep.
Right.
And this was like a Thursday, and we were like, "This is our last chance to go out." Okay, now let me just say, context. It's hard, right? It's hard to you got to give context. At this time, this shit was looking like the flu, and it was being overblown. We actually had a long conversation about it. Who knew, right?
And black people couldn't catch it then.
Yeah, and black people couldn't catch it. As
Africa
it turns
was free
out,
of it.
none of that is true. And black people are getting decimated by this shit.
Yep.
And the shit that they're finding, now they're like, man, kids can spread it, and you get it, and there's at least a chance that you have permanent damage in something. It hits every fucking major organ. And they're saying that they're looking at probable long-term damage. I mean, so it's way worse than the flu.
Looks like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. And then also within that time, the shit became highly political. Like, highly political. Like, way more political than it should be.
Unreasonably political.
Right, considering it's really a disease. It really should be mostly, for the most part, scientists saying and doctors saying this is how it's going to go. And I believe in the good conspiracy theory as much as the next person. My problem with the people who think, oh, this is all the conspiracy theory is that they're saying that somebody's doing this. America is not above using biological weapons. They've tested shit on people. So if you believe that they're capable of doing something like that, this could actually be a bigger problem than you're imagining.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I feel like the world could use some depopulation. You know, I feel like we're heavily overpopulated. I believe a lot of the old white racist baby boomers need to go ahead and catch COVID and die. That's just my personal belief. Nobody else on the panel necessarily believes that.
Necessarily.
But
raise your hand if you don't believe that.
I don't understand how this vote works. But no, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm looking for just baby boomers in general.
No, just the racist, white, racist baby boomers. I was very specific.
Yeah, sure.
You gotta divide racism up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very gently. Because of advertising dollars and economic opportunity, right? There's some people, okay, would you consider somebody to be a racist if they just didn't like black people for a good reason?
What's the good reason?
Like a black person, like, beat the hell out of them when they were a kid and raped their mother.
Right.
That's
right?
the reason I don't like black people.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit that black people got against black people. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I don't like white people for a good reason. A perfectly good reason.
Right.
Slavery. Do I need to say any more? So it's a defense mechanism for me. Now, granted, there's a lot of white people that I love, but in general, I don't like white people. So I understand them not liking black people.
Or you're suspicious of them at the beginning of your relationship.
Definitely.
Right.
Very suspicious.
Right.
Meticulously suspicious. And
I'm like that with everybody. I'm suspicious with everybody that I enter into a relationship with, whether that just be friendly banter, whether that be professional work, whether that be moving from the professional to friendly or moving from the friendly to professional.
I feel you, bro.
People in general are untrustworthy until they prove that they're trustworthy.
Right. Okay, so now we talked about the COVID-19 and depopulation. Let's if you don't mind, Bruce, would you talk about longevity for us?
I'm glad you mentioned longevity.
Yes.
random.
Random.
And that was a segue.
Take a note.
So I've been having some health hiccups lately, right? Some weird heartbeats,
Right on set.
some operation issues. Some cardiologists having conversations with, being on an operation table, and having a procedure to find out that the issue they thought I had was actually a glitch, and not getting a stent on the day I thought I was going to get a stent. Right on the operating table, the doctor is telling me if I feel the probe in my heart as he's tickling my sinuses and making my heart beat like 6-7 beats in a row, right? Boom, 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 right? Tickle your sinus, boom, 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 boom. He's like, hey, you're completely normal. No stent is necessary. They read your issue wrong, right? So I've been having some issues, right? So I've been looking, and I've got some friends who have put it out there, but aren't necessarily pushy with the information. I'm talking about Chris. So I ran into a couple of things, right? One was longevity, and I looked at people who were studying longevity, right? And specifically, I looked at people who were rich who were studying longevity. Jeff Bezos, right? These guys who are rich understand that the commodity that even with all the money in the world that they can't control is how long they live and the quality of the life they live when they live as long as they possibly can, right? So Jeff Bezos is looking into this. The guy who runs Twitter,
Dorsey.
What's his name? Jack Dorsey, right? He put his agenda out that he does every single morning in order to live as long as he possibly can. He eats one meal a day, right? Because studies have shown that the less you eat, the longer you live. He saunas every day. He sprouts. He meditates every single morning.
Tell us what sprouting is.
Okay, so sprouting is when you take a cruciferous vegetable and you take the seed of that vegetable and then you grow the seed, right? And then you eat it before the plant is matured. So that's a seedling sprout, right? And there's a couple of things that seedling sprouts have that human bodies crave, and there's a couple of things that seedling sprouts do to stop things from eating them, and those two things happen to be the same thing. So if you go back you go back 2,000, 3,000 years, right? You're going to get philosophers talking about if you've, and it wasn't scientifically studied back then, right? There weren't meticulous studies that you can go and research and peer-reviewed studies that other organizations have, taken the study criteria and then duplicated and got the same results. You're going to have these you're going to have 3,000 years ago, you're going to have, folks like Cato the Elder prescribing cabbage for certain ailments, right? Prescribing broccoli and cauliflower for certain ailments, right? Okay. If you are having stomach issues, eat a head of cabbage, right? And then don't do anything else for the next 3 days. Eat a head of cabbage over 3 days, drink some water, and you'll be good, right? So cruciferous vegetables have always had an anecdotal place in medicine. Recently, they've been studied meticulously, and what they found is that, in particular, broccoli sprouts have this chemical in them called sulforaphane, right? So I stumbled upon all of this looking at Jack Dorsey's sleeping habits, eating habits, and longevity schedule in order to find out exactly what he was doing in order to live longer. Because I was having some health issues, and I couldn't find out what it is, right? Had MRI, nothing on my brain. Had sonogram of my liver, kidneys, bladder, nothing there, right? Had a heart, had an angiogram, right? Had a treadmill study, right? Went to a sleep study, right? These folks could find nothing, right? So they go stress, right? So maybe that's absolutely the case, but there's things that you can do to bring down your levels of stress. Anyway, sprouting has the ability to get you some of these antioxidants that you need in order to do things like regulate your body's ability to fight cancer or precancerous cells, your body's ability to make sure your DNA stays as clean and as tight as possible, right? DNA is held together by these things, and the more of these antioxidants you have, the better your DNA has the ability to repair itself and to stop damage from happening from the inside. This doctor I listened to, her name is Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She is a sprouting expert. She is a sprouting. She is all about telling people the benefits of sprouting and sharing these studies. Right? Broccoli sprouts, you can get them on eBay. You can get them on wherever seeds are sold. You can get them on eBay. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them from your grocery store. You can get them from everywhere. So they're seeds. Broccoli sprouts. You put these things in water. In 4 days they grow. You eat them. They give you this chemical called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is this chemical that stops insects from eating these plants. When the cell gets crushed or when you chew it and it mixes with the things outside of the cell and the inside of the cell, it makes this chemical compound called sulforaphane, and the human body craves it.
Where would you normally get some?
This. You normally would.
People normally don't.
You would forage for it.
So
you would normally forage for it.
So you would normally forage for it in nature.
Right.
So adult broccoli has it. Adult cauliflower has it. But
it's not in the same concentration.
It's not in the same concentrations. They found the higher levels of concentration are in the sprout.
Eating them babies.
Because the sprout doesn't want to be eaten. So when an ant takes a bite of a sprout, the sulforaphane makes it go yuck. And it walks away. It's a natural insecticide. But when people eat it, they found studies that show it actually penetrates the cell of people's bodies, which means that your body forwards it in its entirety to a cell to be processed versus it being broken down until its component chemicals and then forwarded to the cell.
So
like
why
sugar
isn't it broken down? That sounds like something slipping through.
No. It sounds like it's being used
already
in the
at its
cell.
base level.
It's already at its base level and being
where
used
we
in
need
the cell.
it. They're breaking it down otherwise to get it to where we need it. This is already ready. Ship it out, bud. Okay.
Ship it out. It acts as what they understand right now is it acts as a powerful antioxidant that stops deterioration of DNA. And what they've shown is people who take this live 10 to 30% longer than people who don't.
Is it also the type of person that would take that as doing all everything else? How do you isolate for those?
This is possible. It's a correlation.
Like he has a really great lifestyle, so you would expect him to live longer.
It's a correlation, but they found that people who eat more broccoli and cruciferous vegetables live longer than people who do not.
Yes, broccoli has been a recommended vegetable. Thankfully, I like the taste. What it takes broccoli taste actually.
Right.
A little bit of lemon juice and steam that shit.
Another thing I found is people.
Awesome.
Not all people can taste broccoli.
Really?
Not or let me put it like this: cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts, like the anecdote of the white kid not eating his Brussels sprouts at dinner. I ate everything because I was hungry, except for cream corn, which is disgusting.
Nah, beans. We can get into it, but no, cream corn is wonderful.
Beans are delicious.
Yeah, beans are delicious.
Whatever.
So
I can't think of anything that's not delicious except for liver.
So liver is the worst.
Lima beans?
Delicious.
Lima beans are okay. They're not good. But
No, they're
okay.
nasty.
Absolutely delicious.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go delicious.
Abuse? I wouldn't call it abuse.
David was abused by a lima bean at some point.
My mom and dad understood that beans were good for you.
And they were cheap.
And they were cheap, right? And plentiful, and they were good for you.
And they were delicious.
And so they supply us with beans. So at the end of every month, there was bean eating. And I'm like, man, this shit, when I get to be an adult, I'll never eat beans. I just made some beans and shit because as an adult now, I realize the value of them. And I actually found something I like. But it's still one of my limits. They got 200 million different types of beans. I'm good with maybe like 6.
Yeah, my dad told this story about oatmeal.
Kidney beans at the top.
About being tired of oatmeal.
I love oatmeal.
They said that they ate oatmeal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Who's this? 24 karat black?
No, he was talking as a kid. He ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then one day, his brother Daryl took the bowl of oatmeal, threw it against the wall. He was tired of it.
He's revolted.
And
That's a whooping.
his revolt,
That's a paddling right there.
His protest awarded them some different kind of food, man. She realized. I mean, they had been telling her they were tired of it,
But this was it.
this was it, man.
Hey, you know
It was
what?
mutiny.
When it
No, but Bruce, were you finished though? Oh,
No. I was going to
violence
say.
does solve things. I know
does.
a lot of people say it doesn't, but
It does.
One way or the other.
human,
It brings
animal,
things to a
history,
resolution.
yeah, right. It's not, maybe you would rather do it another way. Maybe it could be another way.
Sure.
But throughout let's not even call it human history. Let's just call it not even animal history because it applies to plants
World
too.
history.
Just the existence of beings, whatever they are. Plants fight.
Yes, they
and
do.
they take the sunlight, and the other guy dies. He ends up on the ground.
Weeds.
Not only does he die, he fertilizes me. You know,
Right.
so this is a win-win for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to compete against this motherfucker, and he about to eat his ass.
About to eat him.
And I'm going to
Weeds.
get all them good interest. Yeah.
The
Or
enemy
just
of any
regular plant.
homeowner. Yeah.
Weeds or just any plant. Any plant will kill another plant, even his brother.
We
to get
consider
the sunlight.
weeds the ones that do that the most.
Yep.
Yep.
Weeds are strong. But anyway.
So there's two things I wanted to say. So I wanted to ask you guys, and there's something I didn't realize. I was just I was on an internet journey, and I was on YouTube, and I went to this video that talked about, can you taste asparagus? Right? Not everybody can taste asparagus the way that it actually tastes. Specifically, not everyone can smell asparagus after you piss it out. Can you smell asparagus piss?
Not necessarily. I haven't. I'll have to try this time.
Can you tell when David, can you tell when someone's ate asparagus?
I can tell when I've ate asparagus 100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Kipp? I now know.
Yeah, I feel like I can.
It stinks to high fucking heaven.
Not everybody can. It's a genetic anomaly.
Anomaly, or where's the percentage?
It's a genetic. I don't know what the percentages are, but it's a percentage of people that cannot smell asparagus piss.
Some people apparently think cilantro tastes like soap.
I was about to make the exact same point.
Get out of here.
One of the best tasting
It's
herbs.
delicious.
It's delicious. But some people
Absolutely.
are genetically predisposed to taste it. It tastes like soap or toothpaste to them.
Yep.
I'm like, wait, you're missing out, buddy.
You know why this is? So this scientist, and I don't know his name, he posits that. Okay, so one, I remember not liking chocolate as a child.
I don't recall that at all. I mean, not your story. I don't recall ever not liking chocolate.
So
Maybe
there were
dark
times
chocolate.
when I prefer. Oh, dark chocolate is disgusting.
how about I like dark chocolate now, but I hated chocolate as a child. How about tomatoes? I hated tomatoes as a child. Not ketchup, because that's not a tomato.
That's sugar.
I like tomatoes.
I didn't
always like tomatoes.
I didn't always like tomatoes. How about onions?
I didn't always like onions.
I didn't always.
This nigga, he just started. He was driving when he liked it. It was all. I've always liked it, but my family's been a big onion people. Yeah, onions.
So babies in particular have a heightened sense of bitter. So when they taste things, usually things that are poisonous are also bitter. Mm-hmm. That sense of bitter goes away. You know how babies put everything in their mouth?
Yeah.
Babies can taste most poisons and spit them out immediately.
That's awesome. And you lose that ability as you get older.
And you lose that ability as you get older, but you learn. But you've already learned.
But that's a false positive. Is that the plant protecting itself from the baby or what? Because this plant
It's both.
is actually great for you.
It's both.
Right.
It's both. It's things like the jalapeno being really spicy.
Mm-hmm.
It's things like tomatoes being part of the nightshade group of plants, right?
Fruits.
And they have protections that they don't want to be eaten.
Yeah.
Okay, but like with that said, right? Like just gonna throw an example out there. Kipp actually introduced me to the Master Cleanse or the Lemonade Diet or the Beyonce Diet, whatever they're calling it today. And I did the fast for 10 days, and I came off the fast, and everything processed was disgusting. I couldn't eat McDonald's. It was way too salty. And I was sitting next to somebody who didn't fast, and I was like, oh, my God, what's wrong with this burger? And this is like a week after the fast. I slowly progressed into eating bad foods. But this was the first bad food I tried. And I said, here, taste this. And, it was my nephew Manny. He said, tastes fine to me. So does the taste change because of our palate? Does our palate adapt, and then that's why we can no longer taste the poisons because we've been force fed them our whole life?
A little bit at a time, and now it tastes delicious.
Yeah, now it's great. Laffy Taffy.
But to Bruce's point, he was talking about a baby sensitivity to it who hadn't had that years of conditioning.
Right.
So why would they naturally, or is that just the image? Or do babies actually shy away from vegetables? Right, those little Gerber vegetables seem like they eat that shit up.
Unless taught to. Babies will have a lifelong aversion to vegetables unless you introduce them at an early age.
Like I talk to my wife all the time, and she's like, as kids they didn't really eat vegetables. I love vegetables to this day. I cook vegetables. I love vegetables. She's always like, "Oh, you trying to do it?" I'm like, "No, it's just they taste good.
I like the texture. I like the taste.
Yeah, and I'm like, and it happens to be it's healthy, but I have a hard time doing shit for the health benefits. I have to find things that I like that happen to be healthy. Because otherwise, I lack the motivation to do it. Like, I eat a lot of vegetables because them motherfuckers is delicious. Now, I have increased my uptake since my 20s, where I still like vegetables, but I was more inclined to just eat a burger and fucking fries. But because of the health benefit, like, I can't eat blueberries, for instance. Everybody tells me, all the research says blueberries are fucking amazing.
I love blueberries.
I just can't eat them. You know what I'm saying? I had like one good blueberry, not a box of blueberries. Like one, she was like, "Here, try this one." It was delicious. It was sweet. It was great. Had the next one, it was all, and I'm like, I'm done with this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm done. I can eat, and I love fruit, and I wish I could, in theory, move to blueberries because they're so healthy, but I can't. But I can fuck an avocado up. But I just can't eat the fucking blueberries.
So there's one more thing I wanted to say, and blueberries are really good for you. Blueberries are really good for you.
Really good.
A lot of fiber, very low glycemic, right? Low in sugar, a lot of fiber. So, so the other thing about longevity is a sauna. So I'm building a sauna right now. Anybody out there that's listening to this that wants to learn about longevity, type in sauna longevity into YouTube. Look at other podcasts. Look at Dr. Rhonda Patrick talking to the American Heart Association, AHA, about saunas, right? And saunas in Finland are 1-to-1. If you got an apartment, you got to put a sauna in it. If you got a house, there's a sauna in it. Families sauna together. They've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. Has anybody ever seen people jumping in ice and wondered what the hell was wrong with that guy? Well,
Absolutely.
it turns out when you stress a human body, it creates certain proteins that protect cells from damage and allow cells to live longer and push cells that are already dead to kill themselves entirely, right? So there's two ways to do it. There's cold and then there's hot. They've studied hot a lot. So these are called heat stress proteins. And when these heat stress proteins get activated in temperatures of 100, 150, 180 degrees, right?
Jeez.
You sit in a sauna for 30 minutes, 180 degrees. Your body starts to generate these heat stress proteins that do all sorts of cool shit inside of your body. One, they detangle and destroy other proteins like amyloid beta, the ones they think are responsible for Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
Right? They go after and detangle those things so that the body can dismantle them and destroy them properly. It does things like shift your cells into a protection mode. Stress, your body's like, hey, we're about to die. We need to protect ourselves, right?
Focus.
Right. Cold weather does the same thing, right? Like they've seen in people who have brain injuries, you cool that brain down to 97, somewhere between 95 and 97 degrees, that the brain has a better chance to recover. One, it needs less oxygen, so you're going to get more oxygen to the brain. It's going to be able to repair itself, hopefully. And two, it puts less stress on the system to function at a normal level. So sauna, 30 minutes a day. What they found is
That sounds like essentially they're in a coma.
For a cold, yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, for cold, they give you the drug cocktail, they intubate you, they cool your brain down, they give the cells a chance to recover on their own. With the sauna, right, what they found is people who regularly sauna live longer than people who don't, 10 to 30% longer, right? All comorbidities factored in, right? They've seen it has the ability, these heat stress proteins, the ability to reverse heart disease. They've seen that it has the ability to help with things like diabetes and weight loss. They've seen that it has the ability to do things like if people are suffering from things like mental fog, what's that disease that doctors don't believe in that people have, nerve disease, they feel pain all the it's something like that. It's something similar, right? People feel fatigued all the time. People feel tired all the time, right? People with lupus.
Well, whether the doctors believe it or not, there's a medication out there. So there's something weird going on.
There's something weird going on.
Yeah.
They're playing to the crowd.
The drug company believes it. No, but apparently that thing, that what you're describing, and I can't think of the name.
Fibromyalgia.
Okay, yeah. Your nerve endings, and they could be as extensive as your entire body, but it's usually concentrated in an area. Your nerve endings are on fire at all times, essentially. They're just firing off like somebody's just trying to burn you or something.
Yes.
And it's just, they're just always, and then
always on high. Right.
Obviously, there are varying degrees of this. Some people might feel it periodically, like a migraine, and other people have it all the time. But anytime your nerve endings are being fucked with, that is your pain sensor. So
that's your pain
thing,
sensor,
though.
right?
My question is, what the fuck does this drug do? It doesn't cure it. We know that, right?
It just
so it must turn something off.
Something off.
That's the only thing it can do.
Or
it turns off the warning light.
Yeah, it interferes with the ability of the nerve to signal back to your brain.
Now, if it was a fake signal, all right, maybe you want to turn this off. But the side effects of these shits is always like, they're so extreme.
Death.
You'd be like,
diarrhea.
Right.
Diarrhea is always
number one. Bloody
sore throat.
This is your sickness. This is your sickness. Hey, sore throat is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
You got a sore throat. But
especially in the Rona world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you got
that little tickle.
These side effects. We're like, oh man, I'm trying to get this acne off my face and suicidal thoughts. Like, okay, I'm sad now, and I got self-conscious issues because I got acne. So why do I want to be acne? I'm sorry, possibly acne free. They're not guaranteeing shit. constantly acne free, but they are pretty much assuring you that you're gonna get these side effects.
These suicidal thoughts.
Suicidal
My acne's gone.
Man,
Or not.
dude,
Now you missing your acne so much you just gonna jump off a bridge and shit.
the heart medication I'm on, I kid you not. It says the side effects are low blood pressure and no blood pressure. It says those two next to each other. I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm trying to help my heart. That sounds like my heart has stopped. This medication sounds.
So let me squeeze this out real quick. So those heat stress proteins are activated with people in sauna. People who sauna 1 to 2 times a week have a moderate increase or a lowered what is it called? Lowered. They won't actually get the disease, heart disease, right? What is that called? A lowered
Risk factor?
Lowered risk. They have tremendously lowered risk for things like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and then some of these more morbidities, right? The actually dying from these things. So what they found is people who sauna 3 to 5 times a week have a much lower incidence of these diseases or prevalence of these diseases in their lives, right? So I'm building a sauna in my basement because it's not just good for that. People who have mental fog for no reason, right? Some days your mind just isn't firing on all cylinders, which I've got going on, and it's happening for the last 18 months, and I've been trying to figure it out. So I'm building a sauna in my basement. Tro came and helped me build it. Carlos came and helped me build it.
I feel like I ain't helping enough.
It's almost ready, man. It's almost ready, and it's open to anybody in the circle. Not anybody watching, but anybody in the circle.
COVID free.
It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
COVID free.
So it's gonna be. Knowing Bruce is gonna be like one of those old time Roman bathhouses, so be aware.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how Bruce get down.
So the actual etiquette in saunas is if it's, and this is the Finnish etiquette, and I'm not necessarily down with this. Let me take that back. I'm not down with this. Is if it's all men in there, no towels are necessary.
No towels are necessary.
If it's mixed, then towels are necessary. So
It's all women.
if it's all women, no towels are necessary. If it's same sex, no towels are necessary. So I'm putting this together. I'm doing it.
Makes sense, right? I mean, you wouldn't.
Right.
In his locker room, you have. Whatever.
So I'm doing it for me and Moms. Moms is immunocompromised. She's got heart disease. She's got lupus. And people who have lupus that sauna, it shows that they have an improved quality of life. So she has lupus-related arthritis issues, and it shows that they have a marked improvement in quality of life.
You know what the cool thing about Earth is that a company like GlaxoSmithKline that's making these drugs, what they'll do is they'll go like to the rainforest for inspiration. They'll find things,
absolutely,
and they'll base it on there and build it. The essence of it is that all of the stuff that you need is kind of already here, right? I mean, like they're creating all these drugs and stuff. Oh, it turns out smoke a little weed and you'll be all right. And the side effects are better. I mean, are a lot more minimal, right? You get a little hunger or something like that.
Right.
So things like a sauna, that's age old knowledge. Like, you know, they've known about saunas. They didn't know exactly what was happening, but they had the anecdotal evidence, as you said, that this was helping people. And saunas exist all around the world.
Finland has known about this for thousands of years.
Saunas have, if you look at a lot of the major cultures on multiple continents, you'll see sauna type things. Hot springs. People have popped up, villages and towns have popped up around hot springs for centuries. Oh, look, this is cool. I saw a special on this group of Capuchin monkeys. I want to say they were Capuchin monkeys.
Oh my God, I've seen
monkeys.
that.
Yeah, they
how they discriminate against each other.
And then on top of that, yeah, they would. Some of the monkeys were not allowed to go in the pool. Here's the problem: it was freezing out. They were in this hot tub and they were hot, but they were discriminating against some of them, and they were forced to stay out of the hot pool, and they were literally on the side shivering. And this is one of the highest and coldest points of mammals outside of humans.
Yep.
Primates. Let's call them primates because mammal, ocean
Primates. Yes.
These primates, and they were in this really cold terrain, and it was so incredibly amazing.
It was
interesting.
depressing too.
It was depressing how
to see the monkey.
Oh, did you see the one where another hierarchy? These were city monkeys, and the higher ranking woman stole the lower ranking woman's baby.
Yes.
And the lower ranking female, she couldn't outwardly go and take it back. Like she didn't have the power to do that. She's kind of stalked the chick for a little while and put her, and the other chick was, I guess, felt guilty about it. She was kind of trying to run away, but she didn't truly need to. She could have just said, "There's nothing you can do, bitch."
So we talked about longevity. We got a few more topics to get on after before we get out of here. Let's move on to business ownership, credit, taxes. It's kind of like in the same genre. I say it's kind of in the same category. They kind of intertwine with one another. So, who would like to get us started off on that?
Let me kick off the taxes conversation and then grow it to a more broader business ownership type perspective.
What's your pedigree in taxes, David?
Yeah, so I'm a CPA. I have an MST in tax. I've been working in tax mostly with high net worth individuals it's been a long fucking time, man. I started doing taxes in college. So we're talking before we got out of college, I graduated in 04, so maybe 02 or 01 or something like that. So
we're talking like tax year 99, maybe.
Yeah, it was 99, so that would have been 2000. So it's been 20 years. This is my 20th year in the game, and I love it. I'm a tax nerd, and I have my own shop now. I left public, and I do my own thing. But so everybody always has a tax question. Yeah, how do I save money on taxes? How do I save money on taxes? If I could tell people one thing about taxes is the taxes. What I would equate taxes to is like the canary in the coal mine, right? When that motherfucker die, that means it's gas. But they're actually kind of looking for this shit, right? So as your taxes go up, that's the sign that you're making more money. That's great. It's fucking great. Short of a tax law change. But, so we had a client this year. He had to write a check for $7.5 million. You know what most people say? Damn, that's a lot of money. Almost nobody asked me, damn, how much did he make? That's the fucking question. Like 30-something million bucks? Fuck 7.
Who we talking about? Wesley Snipes?
Nah. He didn't get a refund. This guy's making a paycheck. That's what happened with Wesley Snipes, right? People, okay, what happened with Wesley Snipes? This is what the fuck happened with Wesley Snipes.
He was messing with the Nuwapians down there in Atlanta.
Normally, rich people don't get tax refunds. And most people don't understand this because most people are listening, and the vast majority of people, they have a job, they have a W-2, they file the taxes at the end of the year, and they get a refund. In fact, most people refer to their taxes as their tax refund. The refund is just the final stage of once you've calculated your taxes and once you calculated your withholding, how much you got left. Most wealthy people pay taxes at the end of the year. They write a check. And this guy's writing a check for $7.5 million. What Wesley Snipes was doing, and I'm not even sure how the math fucking worked out. Right? What the fuck? But what Wesley Snipes was doing was claiming refunds and seven-figure refunds from the IRS. Now, he said he didn't know his accountant was doing it, and accountants can do all kind of crazy shit, right? However, when he got the $7 million, or the I'm sorry, not $7 million. I don't want to say that. It was $1 million. He cashed that shit and he spent that shit. And he didn't say, how the fuck am I getting this kind of money when I wasn't getting this kind of money before? That's why the IRS makes you sign it. The reality of the situation is if I could prove I wasn't grossly negligent, my maximum fine is like $500. But as a tax preparer, the taxpayer, they still got to pay all the penalties, all the interest, and they will be subject to fines, penalties, and possibly jail time. That's what the fuck happened with Wesley Snipes. And they wanted to make an example out of his ass.
Definitely.
He was black and famous.
And he was messing with the Nuwapians, bro.
I don't know who that is, but yeah,
He was messing with the Nuwapians down in Atlanta. It was a guy, I can't think of his name right now. He was building pyramids. He got a large plot of land down in Atlanta. He had crops. He had water collection. He had wind power. and Wesley Snipes was down with this brother.
Talking about Captain Planet.
I gotta find this guy's name.
Yeah, but by all accounts, he was also getting millions of dollars in tax refunds illegally. Okay, here's the thing.
That was this overlay. They probably had the same accountant because they all went to jail.
Man, look, here's the thing. At a certain point, it becomes some kind of gross fraud in your, it's a super hyper felony, however you want to look at that. I don't know. But it didn't hurt that he was famous and black, right?
Dwight Malachi York. Dwight York. You guys heard of Malachi York? Dr. Malachi York? Yeah. He went. He got locked up.
How many?
For tax fraud. He's in that bitch for life.
Man, hey,
tax fraud. Him and Wesley Snipes, bro.
Wesley Snipes
they were rubbing elbows
though. Yeah, he was rubbing. Yeah, he was getting these credits and shit. But that's how they got Al Capone, man. I mean, they got him for fucking taxes. They couldn't get him on nothing else. But
Al
he
Capone
died in jail.
Al Capone had syphilis since a teenager.
Since a teenager.
Yes.
I didn't know that. And it probably most likely at that time was untreated.
Yes.
And that's
I wonder how he got
that's
it.
what ultimately got to him, right? I mean, they've been fucking hoes, right?
That's exactly how he got it.
Yeah. But yeah,
I love hoes, man.
Yeah, man.
I never bought one, but I like looking at them.
Yeah, but
and having sex with them.
So the thing is that when people do talk about taxes, they're like, how can I get lower taxes? And the reality of the situation is there are ways to reduce your taxes. But if I can only tell you one thing, this is the thing. Most people come to me in January of 2020 and want to discuss their 2019 taxes. That's known as the tax filing season. But I'm filing your prior year tax return. Wealthy clients come to me in April after the season and say, hey, let's talk about my current year taxes. What can you do? Once December 31st hits, there's like one thing you can contribute to an IRA. That's the last thing you can do to affect your prior year taxes. But in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, even all the way into December, there are things I can actually do to affect the current tax year. And that is a major change that people need to make. They need to do more planning and less compliance. The compliance has to happen. More planning. But the reality of the situation is most people don't want to pay for it. The shit can cost money. But
it can make you money.
It can make you money. If it nets you out.
Right.
If you net out a gain, why not?
Right. Or save you money. Depends on how people think about it.
Saving money is the same thing as making money.
So what you're saying is we look at it in retrospect or through the rearview mirror instead of preparing for it through the year and doing things throughout the year that will make your tax liability put you basically in
when you
a
can actually
situation.
change it. Once you hit the end of the year, you can't actually change it.
Right.
And the rearview mirror analogy is great. Imagine driving your car only looking in the rearview mirror.
Right.
Like what you would never do that. In fact, you spend the vast majority of your time looking out and looking to see what's coming. Not what happened is important, who's behind you is important, and that's why we have fucking rearview mirrors. But
right.
In reality, what is that? 10, 15% of your time? Maybe upwards of 20 if you towing something and you're watching. But the majority of your time should be looking forward. And that's where it's flipped on. And so that's a great analogy with that as it relates to taxes and tax planning and things like that. So
right. So we also going to talk about credit and business ownership. Kipp, would you mind chiming in on either one of those? Also, would you give us a little bit about your background too, before you get into it?
Right now I'm a bookkeeper.
Okay.
I work in a business office, but my experience, especially as it relates to business ownership, goes back to that same tax season. When David started doing taxes, right around there, we're talking tax season '99.
Yes, sir.
Doing taxes in our apartment. Yep. And we opened a tax shop together. But that's where it started, in our apartment. And we've had I don't know. A fascination with being independent that dates back to like grade school, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Selling suckers. The
Blue raspberry.
The
Blue raspberry
crack,
blow pops.
blow pops.
Yep.
Mechanical pencils. Yep.
Textbooks.
Selling them back.
Lunch cards.
Free lunch cards.
Well,
Which I think
we were actually selling them. They weren't free.
Who stole the whole pack of lunch cards?
No one stole them. They were found in a garbage can, thrown away in Garfield when they closed Garfield.
Absolutely.
And they came to us, but there was no theft. They had been legally discarded. Legally discarded.
Yep. That's called a come up.
Yeah.
Free and clear.
We had a good inventory, and we also had the person that brought it to us was like, man, maybe they could do something with this. That's why he brought it to us. He didn't just bring it to us randomly. He was like, man, because we had already been selling book now. The textbook was a little bit more.
Wait a minute. This was before Parks?
No, this is
at Parks.
Okay.
We sold textbooks, but textbooks we found in the lost and found.
In order to get out of debt to the school, you had to turn in the textbook?
No. That wouldn't work. The books were coded. What this was for people who actually wanted to take a book to class and they had lost their book. And they weren't going to buy a new one. They would end up eventually being charged back. Because those books had codings in it, so you couldn't just turn in a random book.
Plus your name had to be signed.
Your name had to be in it. It was all kind of ways.
It had to be on the right level.
And they had a number stamped in it. So, but if you wanted to use this book throughout the year, we had access to books. But it was some people thought that they could use it to turn into books. And the people who don't remember, in I think it's pretty much in poor neighborhoods, you rented books. And it was very cheap. But if you lost it, it was
very expensive.
Yeah, and your parents had to pay for this shit, and
you couldn't start next year until you
got it paid, and they weren't never happy about it. And believe you me, because it happened several times, because your boy was highly irresponsible.
And who's your boy? Just to be clear, you talking about yourself?
Me. Highly irresponsible.
Highly irresponsible.
Books. They did not meet the criteria for take care of. I mean, but
take responsibility without taking responsibility.
In defense of that, shoes didn't meet that criteria. Video games, clothes, nothing really. Books were just at the bottom of a long list of things that weren't being taken care of.
Man, B, I remember letting you borrow a power supply that belonged to my father for some piece of equipment he needed. He brought that thing back. It had a cut in it. It had like 3 cuts in it.
Damn, probably a chair did that shit.
Yeah, he was able to put it back together immediately.
But
he made me put it back together. Not only did he did. He sat me down. He was like, your friend messed up my power supply, and now you're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Right.
Oh,
you felt like you were being punished.
It was 3 cables. You had mushed them all together, and then taped around it.
I tried to fix it, right? So obviously,
did most of the work.
So he took it apart, and I looked at it. I'm like, look at this mess.
So basically, he loosened it up for you.
There's nothing I can do. Pops gave me the wire cutters. He was like, all right, make a neat cut. You see that braid on the outside? That's just ground. All ground has to do is touch ground. You see the one on the inside? Cut that. You see the wire on the inside? It's got to touch the wire on the inside. Put some solder on it. Taped it. Taped the outside. Then taped them both together. He was like, nah, it's fixed. Don't let your friends borrow my things. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. The punishment of it all.
That's a pretty dope way to.
But the learning of it all.
Teach a lesson.
Because when was the last time you spliced the wire, Bruce?
About yesterday.
Look at that.
Yeah,
fucking
right?
shit, right?
Lifelong lesson. Hold on, wait. Kipp was going into business ownership. Yeah. We got a little sidetrack.
Right. Let's get back to it.
It's very
not really. It's the same thing, man.
Right.
We just sort of
tax shop. You
building on those lessons.
Yeah.
Of
your entrepreneurship was the renting of those books. That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Y'all could have brought your boy in, but I don't remember none of that.
No, that one specifically we had to keep pretty tight, close to the vest. Right.
we were way way on across the line. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't want to also get where the supply was. Like we had access to the supply closet where the books were and shit. And we, it just wasn't. This was like people have to come up to us secretively, like, yeah, I heard you got books.
Ken sent me.
I got books and crack. This is what we doing. But I didn't have any crack, obviously.
Well, those blue suckers were quite damn close.
But we can never turn the profits of like true crack, right? Because them guys was wearing them herringbone chains. I wanted to get one of them too. But anyway,
yeah, we weren't doing crack numbers. But we had crack suckers. Aspirations.
Mm-hmm. Oh man,
absolutely.
But yeah, so it's always just sort of been a goal to sort of go independent in terms of securing where the money comes in. The means to getting to that point. I've always been open to anything. I guess that's the point of the whole book story. I don't care if I was selling stolen textbooks or doing taxes. Right? Whatever it is, it's always just sort of been a goal. Yeah. And it to this day it just still kind of is.
Yeah. Right. And the context I want to just make sure we put on this is we came from Harvey. And we weren't in the we weren't living on 150th Street
or 155th.
Like our rich ass buddy Chris Walker, you know what I'm talking about? Dale's Way, this nigga right name for his
nigga on Dale's Way and shit.
Right, we called that Boardwalk. No, he was actually Park Place. Boardwalk was a little bit further up.
Yeah.
We struggled with things like food insecurity,
yes,
clothes insecurity, parents. Job insecurity,
right?
Like very little to no financial education coming from our parents. They're basically they're not making
That's not true. They were educating us. The problem is whether or not they're teaching you the right thing or the wrong thing, you're still being educated. It was just wrong.
That's true. I agree with that. But
I understand your point.
Okay.
In the sense of there's no real true. Yeah.
I meant
and money was taboo to talk about too, right?
It was taboo to talk about because it was a thing. It was a thing of shame.
Yeah, it was a thing of shame or lack thereof. And what she gonna do with her money? Like, nigga, this is my. What the fuck you talking about?
Hey, but what about right. that time when you saw that money in your mom's purse?
Man.
And you like, and you wanted them shoes.
I want the Jordans. Hey, this is so crazy because I just finished watching The Last Dance last night. Fucking awesome. But anyway, I wanted Jordans like everybody wanted Jordans. So they was telling the story. They were like, their expectations for Michael Jordan's was after 3 years, he would have sold something like $1 million to $3 million worth of shoes. He sold over $100 million in the first year. So this is how popular these motherfuckers was, right? I wanted them not because I wanted Mike or I wanted to be like Mike. That actually wasn't why I wanted Jordans. I always had
nobody. Very few people did it.
I wanted it because the chicks liked it. That was what it was the way to get home. You know what I'm saying?
It was a way to get recognition.
Yeah,
and
like man, I figured,
chicks.
And I figured, hey, if I get them, I get some chicks, and that's the only thing that matters.
The only reason.
So I had always asked my mom for these. This particular year, I'm like, Mom, you gotta get them for me this year, or you just a hate. Right. I'm saying it'll be confirmed that you hate it. You just don't want me to get no shit. Prior years, I suspected it, but I'm certain of it this year. Right. And so, you know what I'm saying? I kind of looked in her purse, and you know the exact amount of money that was in her purse is unconfirmable, right? But what we can be sure of is it wasn't going to be much more than $500. No. I don't know. But we can be fairly certain it wasn't much more than $500 if it was that much, right?
That's an unlimited amount of money
at that age.
So okay, but what we could be 100% positive of, it was more than enough to buy me a pair of Jordans. Right?
That was sure of.
Just for context, that's me of one of 6 kids living, right? With a maximum. 500. It could have been as little as 200 or 300, but it was definitely enough to get the Jordans, which were $80, $90 at the time, right? So she's like, obviously, like, nah, that's not gonna happen, simply because I ain't got it. What you talking about? You ain't got it? Look at all that money you got in your purse. I'm saying, just take the dollars out, physically.
The Jordans. I can't believe I gotta explain it.
1, 2, 3. It's 3 steps.
Look, you gotta do that. Look, give me the money.
I'll do it. I know how to catch the bus.
Hey,
364.
Hey,
right?
We can be 100% certain.
River Oaks.
We can be 100% certain.
Shoot.
If that had happened, I wouldn't have come home with Jordans. I would have either spent the money or lost the money. Every bit of evidence shows that I would not have come home with Jordans. I would have come home with another pair of shoes or something, right? So I'm like, Mom, why can't you buy me the Jordans? You must be hanged. And so I did the whole step on the crack, break your mama's back type of thing. I was really upset. The fucking crazy thing, the immature thing about this whole thing is I didn't really understand the full ramifications of this shit until my 3rd year of college. My 3rd fucking year of college. And it was a very simple thing that happened. Very simple. Now, I've washed my hands since, but I ran out of toilet tissue. I was in the bathroom. I was in my first apartment. I lived in the dorm for
talking about this.
And I ran out of toilet tissue. And they're like, people are like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? I realized, I swear to God, I realized at this point, oh shit, toilet tissue costs money. Oh shit. All of that shit costs money. Oh my Lord Jesus. Because at this time, I probably had about $150, $200 in the bank. Right? I was probably in the same situation with her, except she had 6 fucking kids. And it was just me. And I tell you what, rent was due, cable was due, the weed man was asking for his money. Because he always got his up front. Everything was due. $150 was not going nowhere. And it was just me. it was just, I talked about the 6 kids, but it was actually 6 kids, my mom and my dad. It was 8 of us.
With that horrible habit that kids have of wanting to eat every day.
Yeah, the obvious things, right? But those things you don't really appreciate. You don't really truly appreciate those. You expect them, right? I expect it.
David, I understand completely. I remember when I got the shoes of my dreams, those bright orange Bo Jacksons.
Bo Jackson, I remember them shits he had. Oh, yeah, when I got them, I ain't treated them
I got some new shoes when you got those, but I was still jealous of your Bo.
Hey, them Bo Jacksons was cold as hell.
And I wanted a pair too, but they didn't have them in my size.
Let me tell you why I got these Bo Jacksons. Kipp always had dope shoes.
Dope.
No, I didn't.
I didn't.
I did have those Bo Jacksons.
Change history.
Nigga, he tried to change history, right? He had T-Lines. He had Mike's once or twice. He had motherfucking Nikes. He don't remember. In his mind, he ain't get enough.
I had those Bo Jacksons.
Bro, and you had the Bo Jacksons.
Kipp, I ain't never come to school feeling as dope or as equal.
No, the nigga had used jeans. You don't remember this, do you? Right? You don't remember having used jeans, nigga? Them was the shit.
I remember the used. I remember the
jeans. Sweaters. He had college sweaters. He had
the Bo Jacksons. I had the Bo Jacksons. I didn't get Jordans until college.
Okay. Maybe he didn't have Jordans, but he did have some Reebok pumps. Or was that Terry?
I had pumps.
He had Reebok pumps. No, the nigga had. Okay, I'm sorry.
The pumps was like $200.
Let's clear it up.
The pumps was like $200.
The nigga had a string of name brand shoes while we was in school.
That's fair. That's fair. Probably like 7 through the end of 8th grade.
That was the whole time, nigga.
That was the whole time. Kipp, I remember.
Hey, but I also had the fucking the Pro Wings that look like the Jordan 1s.
I don't remember.
That would have been before. This would have been before Parks.
Oh, before Parks, I ain't like.
But you remember those Pro Wings that look like the Jordan 1s was about as famous as the Jordan 1s. Yeah. I had one.
Come here, love, what you thinking of? I like to know your inner workings, what I'm speaking of. How cheap is love when you can buy it from your weakest clubs? Back the honey down to honey love as the speaker buzz. In your ear, I'm sure you hear me. Waited all night, it seemed you never danced to me. The opportunity presented itself. Spontaneity invented a shell where we could dwell and start our fairy tale. The Years down the line, you still rocking with me. Destroying feelings, leave us broken hearted, full of envy. Visit the same establishment where we met, having my share of Remy. I recognize a sudden urge of lust rising in me. Hot damn, she's fine. Persuaded to catch her eye, I can tell by her design. She's sculpting better than mine. My woman lies by my side, had the flashback in time. I must be losing my mind, or is this just a sign? I know she can tell by the clownish looks on my face. I try to live the lies, disguise the truth till they fade away. Gotta wash away the tears and fears and pain. I know it hurts, but it'll be okay, long as we search for the love that we made. Through this crazy, how did I get to this point where I'm enticed by a smile and a puff of a joint? I guess I can justify without proving the point. Seeing the way we coincide was never second to none. I'm having breakfast with Hun while my significant other lay under covers in wonder. As the sun blessed my face, I discover what's become of us. Simple love, complicated, couldn't withstand the thunder or rain I created. Lightning is frightening, I can see our future. Ashamed in my likeness, girl, how could I do this to you? By me living foolish, I done ruined our bond and union. Raised with all the schooling to make powerful movements. As I walk inside the house, I feel my home is empty. Gazing at our pictures, how did I let it get me? Knowing that I'm wrong, trying to play it rightly, but she can see it on my face where I spent my night. I know she can tell by the clownish looks on my face. I try to live the lies, disguise the truth till they fade away. Gotta wash away the tears and fears and pain. I know it hurts, but it'll be okay, long as we search for the love that we made. Through this crazy, she was astonished by my gesture. How could I let the sun beat me home was her question. Why didn't I answer the phone, and did I get her message? I left her all alone, totally disrespectful. I feel it in my bones, I'm a liar now. Lies that I have told start to spiral down, slowly losing my throne. I should be wiser now. I'm spraying my clothes with cologne to put this fire out. Back to the clubs with the woman that I think I love, grooving the music while chilling, sipping, drinking up. What was I thinking of? Who is this creeping up? Friend of my girl with her camera out, peeping us. Yeah, I'm busted, stomach feeling disgusted. I'm ready to leave, but how can I rush it? Couldn't believe what I seen. There was my girl hugging another man, holding his hand who she fell in love with. Damn. I know she can tell by the clownish looks on my face. I try to live the lies, disguise the truth till they fade away. Gotta wash away the tears and fears and pain. I know it hurts, but it'll be okay, long as we search for the love that we made. And through these crazy lies.